Hello lovely people, welcome to my channel. Welcome back if you've been here before. Today I'm going to show you all you need to know on how to apply your eyeshadow. So let's not wait any longer and let's get right into this video on how to create this simple eyeshadow look for beginners. So the first thing we need is an eyeshadow primer or base. An eyeshadow primer keeps your makeup in place really well, and most of all, it makes the colors that you use on top of it look very vibrant and make them pop. And most of all, it keeps your eyeshadow from creasing. So today I'm going to use the Cut Crease Canvas in the color Edge by Revolution, and I really love this eyeshadow base because it's really full coverage, and for me it really keeps my eyeshadow in place. So first off, I'm going to apply this on my lid, and you don't need a whole lot. I can't really tell you how much you need, so you'll just have to play around with it to see what works for you and your skin. One thing I can tell you is that if you use too much, of course, your makeup is going to look cakey, your eyeshadow is going to look cakey, and that's not something you want. So it's better to start off with a little bit and just build up if you need any more, or if you feel like you need a bit more. So I'm just applying that all over my lid and pat it down with a damp beauty sponge. So now that all of that is looking nice and even, the next thing you want to do is grab a pressed powder that is really close or matches your skin tone very well, and any big fluffy brush that you have. And we're going to apply that over the base. This makes sure that our base isn't tacky anymore, so that when you add your eyeshadows, they don't stay in one place, but they can blend really well. So just pat that on gently onto your base, so that when we start blending, everything will look nice and smooth and blended out. And by the way, the powder that I'm using for this step is the Fashion Fair Oil Control Powder in the shade Caramel. So now that we have our eyeshadow base on and we have set the base with our powder, it is time for the fun part, and that is eyeshadow colors, of course. I'm going to use this palette today, and it is the Lit Lingerie palette by NYX, or NYX if you want. And I love this palette because it has a lot of basic shades that many people with different skin tones can use. So we will start off with our transition shade. And a transition shade is a shade or a color that will help you blend out the rest. So it will actually pull the look together and it will make it not look like you just popped on some colors on your lid. And of course, it will help you blend the other colors into the color of your skin and also into the colors that you will use next. So as my transition shade, I'm going to use this light orange here in the corner with my fluffy brush, and I'm going to focus on the crease. So first off, I'm going to hold my mirror at the same height as my chin so that I will be looking down into the mirror. See, if I would hold up my mirror at the height of my eyes, I don't know if you can see that. You see? You'll see a crease forming, and it will be really difficult to really get into those creases and those nooks and crannies that you have on your eyes. Well, as if you hold it on chin level, your eyes are more relaxed, and you see this smooths out nicely, and you'll be able to place your colors exactly the way you want. Tip number 2, you want to make sure that you hold your brush like not too close to the ferrule. The ferrule is this metal part of your brush. You want to hold it more to the middle. If you want, you can even hold it further down. What this will do is cause your colors to feather out and blend out more nicely. Because if you hold it too close to the ferrule, you apply a lot of pressure, so your colors will come out harshly. While as if you hold it just in the middle here, your colors will blend out very nicely because the pressure is less. So I'm just going to dip into that transition shade, tap it off so that the fallout won't fall on the rest of my face. And I'm just going to follow my natural crease. And in a wiping motion, I'm just going to add that to my eyelid. You can do this in a wiping motion, you can do it in circular motions. For this part, it doesn't really matter. And once you notice that your brush doesn't give off any color anymore, or no excess product on your brush, you can now use the brush and go over the edge of the transition shade to feather that out. So the next thing we're going to do is deepen that transition shade. And for that one, I'm going to use a different palette. This one is by Makeup Revolution. And I'm going to use this brownish orange shade and a fluffy brush that is a bit smaller as the previous one I've used. I used this one to do my transition shade, and now I'm going in with this one. Still fluffy to keep the blending easy, but just a little bit smaller so that I can really focus on that area that I want to deepen. So I've tapped off the excess. And now we're going to focus on the outer part of our crease in little circular motions and on the outer lid. And be careful not to bring in that color too far. Just in the middle of your eye, up to the middle of your eye is perfect. I'm going to blend that out a little bit more. Pull it in. And there we go. So next we're going back in with the brush that we used previously to blend out, without any excess product, to blend out that deeper shade into the transition shade. Again, don't bring it in too far. With this color, we're just focusing on the outer part of the eye. Okay, so we've gotten our transition color to a deeper shade, and for this third step I'm going to use a little smaller brush. It's still fluffy. I'm going to show you in comparison to the brushes that we used previously. This was the first one for the transition color. This one we used to deepen up the transition color, and this one we're going to use for our third shade. And as my third shade, I'm going to use this dark brown color, and I'm not going to use it in the crease, only on the outer V. We're just going to darken up that part to give our eyes a bit of a slanted and glamorous look. Now just tap in as we did previously. Tap off the excess, not to ruin your foundation. And then lightly just tap it on to the outer V. The outer V is this part. And we're really just focusing on there. And you might need to pack on a little bit more to start seeing a difference in color. Just apply as much as you think that you need. I did a little wipe there to smoke it out, not too much. You see, I did get a little bit of fallout, but we can easily get that off with this fan brush. And now I'm going to pick up again this second brush and just bring back the color where I lost some of the second shade that I used. See, as I put on the darker color, I feel like I lost some of that burnt orange shade that I used. So I'm just going to go over that a little bit so that the darker color doesn't appear too harsh. And as you see, it doesn't always have to go perfect, and it will not always go perfect. But you can always go back in with your previous colors just to build up that color that you've lost a little bit more. And if it all goes south, you just wash off your face and try again, or try again tomorrow, or in a week, whatever you're comfortable with. Okay, so as you can see, this look is coming together really nicely. And we're going to add a little bit of light to the eyelid, and we're going to do so by adding a lighter color to the inner part of our moving lid. I'm going to dip into the lighter shade of that NYX palette, this one right here, and I'm going to apply that to the inner part of my mobile lid. And for that, I'm going to use a flat eyeshadow brush. This one is really dense, so it can pack on the colors really well. And I'm just going to dip in, tap off the excess, and pack that onto the inner part of the lid. And I'm going to bring that all the way in to where I've put the darker shade. And the nice thing about this flat brush is that you can really get into that crease so that you can make a nice and precise shape. Okay, so that shade is on, but as you can see, it still creates a bit of a harsh transition in between the dark and the light that I've put on. So we're going to go back into that second color, that Midtone, and we're just going to apply that in between the lightest and the darkest and blend it out so that the transition goes nicely and creates a nice feathered ombre. You don't need a whole lot. Just tap it on lightly with your fluffy brush. Alright, and then I'm going to do an optional and additional step. To pull that look nicely together, I'm going to go in with our Midtone and I'm going to apply that underneath my waterline so that the colors pull nicely together and form a complete pull together look. If you want, you can use a smaller brush for that so that you can really get into that or really underneath that waterline. I'm going to look a little bit more down than I did previously, and I'm just going to tap on that color and follow my waterline. And I'm using a small smudge brush for this. So next is eyeliner, and I'm going to do a wing liner. And I know since this is a beginner series, it might sound a little bit scary if you've never done a wing liner before, or if your wing liners never come out great or good. But I'm going to show you this trick that I always use to apply my wings. And it might be that it doesn't come out perfect, it doesn't have to come out perfect. And people are usually not going to get that close into your face to see if your eyeliner is perfect. If they do that, maybe you shouldn't be around them that much. But anyway, we're going to try and get them as even as possible and I'm going to show you how I exactly do that. I always use a liquid liner. That's my favorite liner or kind of liner to use. And I'm going to get a bit close to the mirror, and I think I'm going to explain you in advance what I'm going to do, because even for me, wing liners are something I need to do without talking. First off, let me put this down and get a really thin pencil so that I can show you where I'm going to place the liner. I'm going to hold the pencil from my nostril to the end of the eye and then up to the end of my eyebrow. And that's the direction I want my liner or my wing to go. So if you see that line and you kind of can visualize where you're going to place the liner, next thing I'm going to do is draw a dot. And I'm going to draw the dot where the crease of my eye ends. So that's about, oh my gosh, I messed up. Let's try that again. Oh, I don't want to talk doing this. All right, here, right here. Disregard the first dot, it went wrong. Then the second one, I'm going to place in between that dot, that second dot, and the tail of my eyebrow. And that's where I want my liner to end. I keep shaking. What's this? Let me brace my hand with my pinky. That's why I like actually to do my makeup after I've done my eyes, so that I don't leave any fingerprints on my face. Alright? Place that right there. From then on, I'm going to go from the inner corner of my eye towards the outer corner. And I'm just making small strokes. So now that I've got my line in place, I'm now going to go and connect the dots. Now that I've connected the dots, I'm just going to bring that down again to the lower part of the corner of my eye. So I'm just going to draw back down. And there you have your wing. All you need to do is perfect it a bit. And if you mess up, you can always go back in with some concealer or eyeshadow to cover that up. So let's get into our lashes. So to make my false lashes look really seamless and blend in with my natural lashes, I'm going to start off with a coat of black mascara. And this is mostly to hide the fallout of the eyeshadow on my lashes, and also to hide the gap between the false lashes and my natural lashes, if any appears. Many people say that they don't like to add mascara before the lashes because it interferes with the adhering of the lashes, but I never had any problem with that. And also I've noticed that adding mascara later can sometimes cause the lash to lift or to pull off a little bit. So while that dries, I'm going to grab my false lashes and glue, and I'm going to apply a thin line of glue along the lash band. And then we wait, because you want the glue to dry a bit tacky. If you apply the lash while the glue is still wet, it will slide around and eventually it will not stick down, or it will release on the outer corners. If I get impatient, I might give it a little blow. And then I'm going to use these special lash tweezers. And you can normally see that when the color changes, the glue starts to get tacky. I'm using black lash glue, so mine is starting to get a bit darker. Now, if you use a transparent or a white lash glue, you might see that it will turn a bit more white, or some they get a bluish hue. So just until it gets a bit tacky, and then you know that you're ready to stick. So we're ready to stick the lash on. What you want to do is, again, hold your mirror in that position as you had it previously. So above the height of your chin, look down in the mirror and then stick the lash. Make sure that you hold the lash not too close to the band, because if it sticks or if your tweezers get stuck to the lash and the lash glue, it will be very difficult to get them off, and then you'll have to start over. Look down into your mirror and start in the middle. That will be your anchor point. Start in the middle, release. Then you adjust the outer corner. And then you pull and push it on the inner corner. And what I like to do is hold it there a bit so that the glue can really settle and it can really stick down on my lid. And there you have your first lash. I'm going to do the other one off camera because ain't nobody got time to wait for that lash glue to dry. And then I see you back in the next step. Alright, got both of my lashes on. And next, what you want to do is up to you. You might want to add a black pencil in your waterline, you can do that. But for this look, I'm going with just a simple coat on my lower itty bitty lashes. And also a little very light coat again on my top lashes, just to finish off that look. And for my bottom lashes, I like to hold my mascara wand vertically instead of horizontally first. Lightly brush the top ones. And there we have it. So I'm just going to finish off the rest of my face for the final look. And then we'll see how everything comes together in this simple look. Ta-da! And there you have it, our finished look. At this point, you have totally done your eyeshadow on your own. And I hope that you had some value out of this video. I hope you liked it. I hope you had fun. And then also, I hope to see you in my next video. Bye bye.